Zohar Chelik Beis, Reish Parshas Vayakil, Daf Kuf Tzadik Hey, Amud Aleph. Vayakil Moshe, Rabbi Abba Pasach, Hakelis Ha'am. So on the verse, Moshe gathered, Rabbi Abba opened to gather the nation. The pasuk says, Chasav Haramaz Hukshalo Yitur Vayakil Chulu. So the Ramaz explains what's Rabbi Abba saying. That it was a question for him. Why does it say Vayakil and not Hakel? It could have just said Hakel Asam. Umitaretz, and the Zohar Kodesh answers Shebalahorus al Shurash Yisrael Chulu. That this extra is hinting to the root source of the concept of the nation of Israel, as Yisrael are in their source. And if so, we can awaken to what it's brought in the Torah and the Maamar. On the day of the Shmini Atzeres, you should have a gathering. Atzeres Tielachem, it's a Knishin Yehelachon, is the translation. So too, it's the same word used to translate Vayakel that Moshe gathered. V'sham perigimol perish teham shachas b'chinas ein mushreshes v'nikletes b'such knesses Yisrael. And there in Likutei Torah, Yom HaShmini Atzeres and Perigimol, it explains that in order to draw down the concept of ayin, that it should be rooted and grasped inside of the souls of Israel, in order so that they should be attached to the infinite light, may be blessed. And that's through the ingathering that they should be gathered into, upwards into Abba and Ima. That you have the hamshacha downwards in order so that they should go up to Ava. And then it says there in the Kitzur to the fourth parak that this is what it means that you should have a gathering, his asfus viskabtus yochad lishorsham, which is a gathering and a coming together to their source, to their root, shuhu chochmilo binachulu. We can say further that the concept of the parts of Abba always shines too far away. And so, in order to get hamshacha from Abba, you're usually far away. And so too, Bina doesn't give you a direct hamshacha usually. There's a curtain, so to speak, in between Bina and Ziranpin. Bechinas mi bara eila, the concept of who created these. You don't know. Why? Because it's hidden. The mi, which is the Bina, is a question of who created these. Ki bina hiskalos atik bechinas ayin, and why is it not so close? Because in Bina you have a concept that's higher that's revealed, the concept of ayin. The yesh ma'ayin mi bara eila. Bria yesh ma'ayin. Mash enkin b'ziranpin, which is not the case in Za'u. L'chein aliyos Chagas lebina zeu aliyah l'gedola. That's why if Chagas goes up to Bina itself, that's a great elevation. Vayin mashakasim yizeh al pasuk al piarayim mehem na parshas ekev binyan brachos. V'kol shechen el iosim lekabel mor Abba. And how much more so if they go up to receive from Abba. V'zeu inyan veyakel Moshe. I'm not sure what the concept of in the Rayim mehem, the concept of the brachos are. But seemingly the concept of blessings is also hamshacha from higher in this way. That it's not in the regular hamshacha, but it's going beyond to where it usually isn't revealed. Further in the Ramaz, because of the sin, they caused the going away of Abba and Ima from Zerampin and Nukva, ואחר כך כשנמחל להם עוונם ביום הכיפורים, and that's the חטא העגל. So the avo went away. And then, when their sin was forgiven on Yom Kippur, v'chazru Abba v'Ima l'soch zun, so that, and then Abba and Ima came back into Zeir Anpin u'Nukva, az vayakil Moshe. That's when it says that Moshe gathered in, because after the sin of the Egel, and they built the Mishkan, when it says that Moshe gathered, that means that he came back, the Hamshach came back, the revelation came back that we used to have. Shu misodus Abba v'Ima Shem Av Sag, that's from the Yisod of Abba and Ima, which are Gematria Av Sag, Olim Kahal, which comes the Gematria Kahal. Shechazru Liikanis L'Soch Zun, that return to go inside of Zeir Anpin u'Nukva. V'zeh shekos of Yakel Moshe, and this is what it says that Moshe gathered. Kolomar Yisrael Shem B'nei Zun. That is to say, what did he gather? He gathered the sons of Israel, which are the sons, so to speak, of Zeir Anpin u'Nukva, Nufutzim u'Purudim, Mishorsham Abba v'Ima. Why did you have to gather them? Because they were spread out and separated from their root in Abba and Ima. And then he gathered them together to their source, that they should not be separated forever. That's the end of the quote. And that's from the Ramaz. And this concept we can explain in the service of Hashem, similar to how it's explained in the Maamar, see it that I have given you with the concept of that the name is not complete. Look over there. That is that the letters Vav K are separate from the letters Yud K. That's what it means. The name is not complete. So that's like we're saying here, that Zah is separate from Avah. So too, it's just like that when you have the name Yud K, Vav K, and the Vav K is separate from the Yud K. And this concept in the service of Hashem is that even if you're contemplating and you have your thought in depth in the greatness of Hashem, and you tie your knowledge in a state of nullification to maybe blessed in a way of beyond knowledge, so you're attaching yourself to what's higher. Nonetheless, you're not able to cause it to be drawn in the heart, to flip your emotions of love and fear. That's why the Yud K is separated from the Vav K. That the emotions are not able to attach to the intellect properly. Gamal derech mashkas belukudi Torah parsha b'midbar daf aleph suf amud beis im haya nimsa b'refuos lechaber gufo el rosho. That it brings the allegory there that if you had such a thing in medicine to attach a body to a head, so too it's the concept of elevating the head, to put the head back on, so to speak. If your head lopped off and you put it back on, v'zeu v'yakel Moshe, and that's the concept of that Moshe gathered. He gathered the Yud K to the Vav K. He's able to reattach the head. Yud K and Vav K. This you cause above the concept of the union of Yud K and Vav K v'chibur abba Arich Anpin im Zah, and uniting Arich Anpin and Zeir Anpin, their lower levels with their source. Like it says on that day, Havaya will be one, because right now there's this concept of separation between Yud K and Vav K. Because Ein Hashem Shalem. Zohar Chele Gimel Vayakel Daf Kuf Tzadik Zayin Amud Beis. So in Zor Vayakel Tochazi it says, come and see. When you have a time of desire in front of the Holy One, blessed be He, to unite the supernal chariot with the lower chariot. And in parentheses, it's, and you can awaken to this concept where it says in Vayigash, now the kings drew together, and it says there, what are the kings, the Alma-Ilah and Alma-Tatar, that Yosef and Yehuda correspond with these two concepts. Limhevi kol echad, to be all one, and in parentheses, Ayin al pasuk echad be'echad yigashu b'medrash rabar, Rish parsha vayigashu b'drush k'gavna chulu. Look what it says, to be all one, this concept of uniting, that the Medrash Rabbah brings the pasuk echad be'echad yigashu from Shlomo HaMelech, and that's also hinting to this concept of Vayigash Elav Yehuda and Yosef, and the concept of Kagavna, how they're united above, they're united below. Which it says in Eila Shmos, which I guess is talking about a hamshacha into biyah, or something like that. So when you have this union between above and below, then a voice calls out, and gathers them. And this is what it's written that Moshe gathered. All of you are corrected and fixed. And there in Mikdash Melech, it explains that Bina hints to Zeranpin, which is Moshe. So I guess, I'm not sure exactly what it's talking about there, but some kind of union between Bina and Zah that Moshe affects through his Vayakel. Vayakel Yud Beis Nosia Kisechulu Einsham. And to gather, and what's the gathering there? It says that this is in Mikdash Melech. What's he gathering? The 12 carriers of the throne of honor of Hashem. So you have 12 malachim that surround the throne, and I guess to gather them to lift up the throne. Nusus Sakise. And the intention here is that's drawn the ability, the strength from the concept of Moshe, which is this bittul, nullification, to the 12 carriers of the throne, in order to lift up the concept of Malchus, which is the throne, Hashem's kingship. And that's through the gathering that Moshe gathered all the Jewish people, and they were in the likeness of the 4 flags. So too, the Malachim are in the likeness of these 4 flags and 4 directions. The camp of angels is known. So it's a concept of elevating Malchus. So before we're talking about union of Yud-K and Vav-K, and here we're talking about Eliyas HaMalchus Nosei Akise. Vayin b'Torah or Parshas Toldos behabiro pasuk Mayim Rabbi b'Mechul v'kamosh kazo pasuk lekachtem agudas Ezov binyan habone b'Shamayim al Yosef v'agudaso al Eretz Yisada. Look what's brought on the verse in Torah Or, that you should take a tied up sprigs of Ezov plant, of this Ezov plant, and there it brings the pasuk that he builds in the heavens his elevations, or his steps, and his congregation, that which he ties together, he founds upon the earth. So you have some kind of something going on in the heavens by a unity on the earth. And that pasuk vagudaso aleres is ba'amo simin yutes. V'amar Rizal b'medrash Rabba Emor Parsha Lamed Daf Resh Aleph Aleph. And it says in Medrash Rabba Emor ve'masayu misale. And when is he elevated? Kishen osui naguda achas chulu. When they're made as one. So when you have a abone b'shamayim eliyosav, which means an elevation in the heavens, when you have agudasu al eretz, when you have the unity below by the Jewish people, that's when you have an elevation above. Look what it says in Yalkut and Zosa Bracha on the verse when the heads gather together. Yachad Shifta Yisrael. Maybe there's a concept of Yachad Shifta Yisrael. Then you have Bisasif Rashi Am, which is similar to what we're saying here, that the heads gather together when you have Yachad Shifta Yisrael, the nations as one. B'medrash, the nation as one. B'medrash Rabba, Parsha Balus Chal Pasuk Esfali Shivim Ishkulu. Look what it says in Medrash Rabba in the verse: "Gather for me 70 men." Maybe there's a concept of Moshe being elevated by gathering 70 men together. I'm not sure. I have to look at the Medrash Rabba. By Bezor, Suf Pasha Tzav Daf Lamed Hey Amadalaf Bedu Lukutei Torah Pashas Teitzei Suf Tipura Maskil Ki Harim Yamushu, which talks about the concept of the avos and their movement, which I guess they're also a concept of this source in the head. Pirish Maliosav, and what does it mean Maliosav? That he builds in the heavens his steps or whatever. Yishlomer Zeu Inyan Mi Allah Shamayim. Maliosav is the concept of who goes up to the heavens. Like the pasuk, who went up to the heavens and came down. The Pirish Bezor Khan, the B'chinas Shamayim Hinza. What does it mean? Who went up to the heavens? The heavens are Zeranpin in this context. Zod Atheilus. Ole B'chinas Mi goes up to the concept of me. Mi Allah Hashamayim. The heavens went up to me, which is Bina. Gamal Derech Ki Gadol Me'al Shamayim Chastecha, and similar to the concept of also, because great upon the heavens is your kindness. Which I guess is a similar idea, somehow translated in that way. Upon the heavens. Kindness, I'm not sure exactly the levels. And similar to the idea of then you'll have pleasure upon Havaya, meaning higher than Shem Havaya. Or al derech hashamayim kisi, or like the concept of the heavens are my throne, that you're coming down into the heavens, an elevation from above to below. Al derech, and similar to Lintoa Shamaim, to plant the heavens, Konin Shamaim Bisvuna, to establish the heavens with understanding. All of this is drawn through the concept of and his gathered together upon the earth. All of these things to plant the heavens, establish the heavens, build the heavens. The heavens are his throne. Kindness upon the heavens and all that. All of this is through what happens below. The Yisrus Philosophy. That through the inclusion below, it is in their ability to elevate the throne. And that upon the throne is the concept of the image of man, to elevate that to the concept of that he is not a man. The concept of a partsuf to the beyond the partsuf. And similar to what's brought on the verse, here you are beautiful, my beloved. Hayofi dafka, that what's the concept of beauty? Kishakol migimul gavanin. That beauty is a concept of iskalulus. It's when you have three colors united together. That's beauty. And like the concept of how we do not count the years of Yovel only when all of Israel is on the land together. That's the concept of an elevation only when you have a hiskalulus, a union, a unity together of all the people. And in Zohar told us, it says that the world are like body parts, or different concepts of flow within the body that you need to unite together. Like all the blood vessels, how they connect and so forth. Sefer told us Adam who klal gadol b'Torah, and look what is brought upon the concept of that this is the book of the offspring of man, that this is a great concept in Torah, that the concept of Torah and the Jewish people are a concept of man, that all you need to unite is one man, so to speak. So too, then you should love your fellow man as yourself is the general concept of the entire Torah. And in Likutei Torah Matos, where it brings on the verse that you should prepare your soldiers from you, with the concept of that you should give the jealousy of Havaya, the revenge of Havaya upon Midyan. That the concept of Hechaltzu is a concept of unity, which is unlike the concept of Tohu, the breaking of the vessels, because they would not unite and so forth. As is well known, that the Hechaltzu is an union of Avos. Maamer Hechaltzu, either from the Alter Rebbe or from the Rebbe Rashab, is all about Ahavas Yisrael and unity together. Mashkas B'Zor Chilik Gimel Parshas Vayischan and Daf Reish Samech Zayin Amud Beis B'Inyan Ahava. V'nei B'Inyan Shema Milgav. In Zohar, Vayischan, it also brings this concept with the concept of love, that it's also an idea of unity, I guess. V'hinei binyan Shema milgav diu orach Atzilus. Now, the concept of Shema, how it's inside, that it's the path of Atzilus. So what's this concept, and how is it connected? Mavur b'makom acher, pirush orach Atzilus. So it's explained in another place, the concept of the path of Atzilus. Hainu sheyihya iskalulus kol Atzilus yachad. That concept, that word, implies that you have the inclusion of all Atzilus together. And how do you do that? That's through the concept of ma, which is nullification. That's why it says Shema Milgav, which is the Orach Atzilus. That the ma, the bittul, is the union of the entire Atzilus together. And that's why Shema is the gematria of Adam, man. Ki Adam zehu iskalulus, which because the concept of Adam is the concept of union of all the different parts together. Or Parsha Yisro, B'dibur ha'maskil lahavin inyan ha'avos hein ha'merkava, in the Torah or in Yisro, where it talks about how the avos are the merkava, which is, I guess, the concept of unity. Valpis and bittul, that they had a bittul, that's why they were a chariot, which I guess is also the concept of hiskalulus somehow. And according to this, we can also say the idea of Moshe gathered, because Moshe is rooted in the concept of the name Ma. Like we said, that Moshe is Ma with a shin to go down to the midos. That it's the path of Atzilus. Moshe corresponds with this idea of the union of the world of Atzilus. Like it's brought in the explanations on that. In the verse that Moshe spoke, and Hashem answered him in a voice. That I guess because he was a kli for Matan Torah, because he had the bittul of Ma. That's why it says afterwards, after Vayakil, after Pasuk Vayakil, that 6 days you should do your work and so forth. The Mavor Belukutei Torah Basha Bahar B'Dibur HaMaskil Es Shabbos Saiti Shmoru, that it's talking about the concept of Shabbos. And it's brought in Likutei Torah in Bahar on the verse that you should keep my Shabbos is the Gamali as a Torah mitzvahs wa'idei Shabbos, that also the elevation of Torah mitzvahs is through Shabbos, that it unites them all. Look what it says in the Maamer, see that Hashem has given you the Shabbos. Where it brings this concept that on Shabbos we say, you sanctify us with your mitzvahs, which also implies this, that the mitzvahs are elevated to Shabbos. Pei Nun Yud Kan. I'm not sure exactly what Pei Nun Yud. It's a Pirush on the measures or something. One of them, unfortunately. Vayakil Moshe lahakel ba'achdos hamiti. That it says, what does it mean that Moshe should gather, that he should gather them with the true unity? In Shabbos, which is the concept of Shabbos also, to be with truly united. How do we know that Shabbos is unity? Like it says in Zohar Truma, the Shabbos tis achdas b'raz de echrechulu. The Shabbos is a concept of union in the secret of one. So Shabbos is the secret of one, not just in the Eibishter, that Hashem is one, but also in the Jewish people. And the mitzvahs too, everything to be one. So too, this that it says afterwards, that you should take a truma. What does it mean to take a truma? To be elevated to that concept of truma, which is the secret of the holy throne, to be elevated to the fathers and with her husband. It's a concept. So vayakil then, and to take truma, that it says, is also this idea of unity and elevation. That is to say, shechina nikras truma. But because the word truma itself means to elevate, and the concept of shechina is also called truma, lashon hafrashas ha'ara, to separate out a glimmer, which is the concept of malchus, to go down into the world and so forth, and enliven them with just a glimmer, because it's at the lowest level, to go down. V'lashon romamus, it's also a language of elevation, which is its concept. Mikol makom nikra rak shem v'ha'ara, but nonetheless, it's still only called a name and a glimmer. And to elevate it to the concept of that he surrounds all the worlds, kadosh muvdol, holy and exalted, v'nikra yichud kutchubrich, when it's called the unity of the Holy One, blessed be He, al derech Yisrael mekadshei shmecha, like the concept of Yisrael are those who sanctify your name. B'dibur hamaskil osri legefren. So sanctifying the name is also the concept of unity. And that's the concept of you should take from yourselves truma. That is to have the concept of the right hand of Hashem should be elevated. And also you, Hashem, should be exalted forever. These elevations happen through which this idea of truma as well, the unity below. Like our sages said in Medrash Rabbah and Kedoshim, that you have conducted yourself with an exaltedness in your world. Like it says that Elohim went to gather a nation to place for himself a name, which I guess is this concept as well. That gathering the nation for himself causes an elevation. Calls in him Shechalai Devi Yakil Moshe, and all of this is drawn through the concept of that Moshe gathered. And look what it says in Siddur, that his praise is with the great congregation of the Chasidim, that again, that the praise comes from the congregation below.